And good morning, everybody. We bring you day 2 coverage of the Firecracker Classic, the 49th annual, and happy Independence Day. Happy 248 candles for the United States of America. We begin day 2 coverage with the Missoula Mavericks from Missoula, Montana, 1-0 in the tournament, taking on the post-22 Expos. My name is Mike Fell. Oliver Fell will be along with myself on this broadcast, and you'll hear Oliver bring you post-22 Hard Hats baseball tonight in the game against Premier West and also throughout the day. And we are underway. Leading off is Colin Boyce. He hits the ball to third. Throw across the diamond is in time, and that's out number 1. Colin Boyce is retired. We'll get to the lineups and pitching matchups momentarily. Burke Eschmeyer is the pitcher for the post-22 Expos, and one up, one down here in the top of the first. Patrick Davis, now the hitter. Looking at the Missoula Mavericks starting lineup, Colin Boyce is just retired. He's the leadoff hitter today. Patrick Davis, he's the left fielder, batting second. He quickly falls behind in the count 0-2 to Eschmeyer. Here comes Burke's next pitch, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 up, 2 down for the Mavericks here in the visiting half of inning number 1. Jace McCary, now the hitter, the number 3 hitter in the lineup. Not in the lineup for Missoula, getting a rest here early in the morning, is Sam Matisich, who hit a smash over the left field wall in Missoula's victory yesterday in the game we had for you over Premier West. What a pitcher's duel it was. Skylar Fairchild had an outstanding outing, getting the win. There's a smash towards the second baseman. Then a great play, a quick glove gem along with a roll and a throw to first. Gets the job done, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Burke Eschmeyer. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. And Missoula is retired in order as we begin day number 2 of this 5-day, 29-game showcase that will extend through Sunday night. Brennan Labb is the starting pitcher for the Missoula Mavericks. He gets ready to get things going, and leading off for post-22, it'll be left fielder Kane McLeod. Batting second, right fielder Ben Hassett. Hitting third, center fielder Lars Kiefer. In the cleanup position, it's first baseman McCoy Rippentrop. Batting fifth for the post-22 Expos, it's third baseman Hadley Burris. Batting sixth, shortstop Dawson Inhofer. Batting seventh, the designated hitter Trevor Slosher. Batting eighth, second baseman Blaine Hunt. And batting ninth, Easton Tesh. That's McLeod, Hassett, Kiefer, Rippentrop, Burris, Inhofer, Sloucher, Hunt, and Tesh. And again on the mound for the Expos is Burke Eschmeyer, who was backed up very capably by his great defense. And what a play a moment ago by second baseman Blaine Hunt. He did a great job to get on top of that ball that was hit with quite a bit of exit velocity. Mike Fell with Oliver Fell. We have just a tiny little cloud blocking a full-on sun episode here, solar moment. I want to thank all those involved with the project, putting on the new home plate camera that you're able to appreciate here at Fitzgerald Stadium. And welcome again to Fitzgerald Stadium, the Missoula Mavericks, 36-17 on the year. 37.
They won last night.
Yep, 37-17 on the year. 1-0 in this pool play tournament. And I was talking to Chris Stratton, the video broadcaster for the Mavericks before the game. His count quickly goes to 1-1 to Kane McLeod from St. Thomas More High School. Here comes the pitch to McLeod. There's a swing and a miss, and that'll be strike two. Talking to Chris Stratton, he said that Missoula is second in their conference in the Legion Baseball in Montana, just behind that great Billings Scarlets team. There's a chopper foul down the first base line, and the count remains at 1-2 strikes. But Missoula, they are a veteran team, much like the Post 22 Hard Hats are, and much like the Billings Scarlets happen to be. There's a pop-up. Ball is going to land in center field or land in the glove of the center fielder for out number one. So McLeod is retired as he flies out to shallow center. Bryce Ostrom, who had that two-run smash down the third base line in that four-run seventh inning for Missoula, that really broke open what was an epic pitcher's duel through 6 innings in a game we had for you in Game 5 of our coverage yesterday evening. Ben Hassett, now the hitter. He hits the ball towards first, covering is the pitcher, and that will be out number 2. That's a 3-1 putout if you're scoring along with us early this morning. Good play there by first baseman
Finn Davis.
Finn Davis, the closer on this ball club. He pitched pretty well, gave up 1 run, but
earned the save.
No, he did not.
Oh no, because it was a
5-run
good point
margin when he came in, but pitched well coming out of the bullpen. When he started warming up, it was a 1-0 game.
This is Lars Kiefer, right?
Here comes Lars Kiefer, now the hitter. I gave the starting lineups just a few moments ago.
Yeah.
But Lars Kiefer now batting with 2 down and nobody on.
He had a spectacular game 1, a single, a triple, 2 runs, and an RBI. Add a walk on to it. He was 2 for 2 with 2 runs, a triple, a walk, and a run batted in.
Expos are 0-1 in the tournament. They're filling in for a team that did not make the tournament. And I have a story I will share between innings. It might be about the funniest story you've ever heard about a team filling in for someone that didn't make the tournament.
I know this one well. You're going to want to stay tuned.
You're going to want to stay tuned for this story, and you may laugh so hard that you want to make sure you're not eating your breakfast when you hear the story.
Here comes choking hazard.
Yeah, here comes a chopper handled by the pitcher for Missoula. Throw to first in time. Great play there, and a good display of pitching right out of the chute for Brennan Labb. And that's a 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. We're scoreless after 1 between the Post 22 Expos and the Missoula Mavericks. So here's the story. This is junior college basketball in the small town in Kansas of Colby, Kansas. And there was a 4-team tournament, and one of the teams pulled out at the last minute. And a group of us men in the community, I was managing radio stations in Colby at that time. This would have been about 2006, 2007. Well, a group of men were told, can you just put together a replacement team? So we called ourselves the Replacement after the Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves movie about the NFL players who filled in during the '87 player strike. And we got replacement uniforms. And, well, instead of listing our height and weight, some of us men were not eager to list our weight in front of the entire community. We went ahead and just listed our occupation. And you had somebody like Bryce Jones, seed salesman, UPS driver, and so on and so forth. In my case, radio broadcaster. I'll continue the story as we move along here. Chris Compton now leading off in the cleanup spot for Missoula in the scoreless tie as we begin the top half of the 2nd inning. On the mound, it's Burke Eschmeyer for the Expos. So Chris Compton swings and misses, and the count evens at 1-1. So the basketball games were played, and it was a round robin 3-night tournament. Ball is hit into the corner, and is it fair or foul? It's just foul, and count goes to 1-2, and Chris Compton will jog back to home plate. So what happened was you had a pair of double headers every night. Well, some of these town players were really good athletes back in the day, and that day wasn't too far removed for some of us guys in our 20s and 30s. There's a pitch outside. But you had junior college basketball teams as the opponent. And one of the teams was a top 20 ranked team from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, the Western Nebraska Community College Cougars. And they were led by a very fiery, intense young coach. And we get back to baseball. Here comes the pitch. Ball is hit in between the hole between first and second into right field for a leadoff base hit for the Missoula Mavericks. And the Mavericks try to get something going here in the second inning. So you had these men from the town listing their occupations, but not their height, not their weight. And we were just all replacing. We would practice when we could. And the practices, honestly, were a lot of fun, and the players were pretty darn good. I was probably the worst player, the second or third worst player on the team myself.
That seed salesman was cooking.
The seed salesman was good. And anyway, so the first night we go out and we actually shock the community college host school, which didn't go over well. There's a smash over to third, throw to second for one, throw to first, in time, double play. There's a 5-4-3 double play to retire Chris Compton and Finn Davis. And there are two down now here in the top half of the second inning. And now Skylar Fairchild, who was the winning pitcher over Premier West, the team featuring mostly Colorado players, is now the hitter here, batting sixth in the top of the second. So we pulled off this big upset, and a lot of the junior college players weren't too happy because the crowd started cheering for the town team instead of the college team. We won over the crowd. It was kind of like the end of Rocky IV in Moscow, if that makes sense. Here comes the next pitch to Fairchild, swing and a miss. But where it got interesting was Friday night when the top 20 team, the Cougars, got a tussle from our replacement team. We won on a last-second shot. We had beaten the top 20 team with our group of replacement, our ragtag seed salesman, UPS driver, bartender kind of team. And after the game was over, this is where the story gets good, the coach was yelling at his team for losing to our replacement team. And he says, "You lost to a seed salesman," and he gets angry. "You lost to a farmer," and he gets angry. There's an inside pitch, and Fairchild reaches base with a walk there. And then finally, at the very, very end of the list of occupations for our replacement team, it said librarian. The coach broke the water cooler, smashed a chair, broke a chalkboard, and totally lost his composure when he realized his top 20 ranked team had lost to a librarian. There you go. There's the story of the replacements. And
all real.
All true story. And good luck to the Expos, our replacement team here at the Firecracker this year.
They're a little more qualified, but yeah.
Anyway, what a story.
Yeah.
The team did go 2-1, by the way. They were knocked off on Saturday. They were just winded. They ran out of gas. Got knocked off by the team from the Air Force Base in Denver. Can't remember the name of that Air Force Base. Do you know that one, Oliver, in Denver?
Denver itself, Buckley?
Yeah, Buckley. It's the Buckley Air Force
That's Colorado
Base
Springs, but close.
Yeah, they won. Here's a high pitch. Count now 2-1. Henry Wilson for Missoula, the number 7 hitter in the lineup, second baseman. Waits for the pitch from Eschmeyer. That pitch is high. Count now goes to 3-1. Hope you're having a great start to your 4th of July. Hope you're able to spend it with family and friends, and God bless America. Here comes a pitch stack to first base. Diving back is Skylar Fairchild. Skylar had an outstanding outing. He went 6 innings, did not give up a run, and struck out 5 in the victory over Premier West. And there's a walk, and now there are 2 on with 2 out. Boy, how big was that double play a few minutes ago. And here comes Bryce Ostrom. Now, Bryce Ostrom, he was actually set up to put down a squeeze bunt late in that in the game in the 7th inning last night. I was told by Chris Stratton, the Missoula Mavericks video broadcaster, this morning. But he was allowed to take 1 swing first, probably to not telegraph the bunt. And well, that 1 swing resulted in a 2-run bases clearing double down the line. Here comes the pitch now to Bryce Ostrom, and that's a swing and a miss.
He got a piece.
Eschmeyer gets ahead of Osmeyer. He did get a piece.
It was a little foul too.
Little aluminum scrape. Here comes the pitch from Burke Eschmeyer. And that's a check swing, and I think that's a strike. Yes, it is. So now Burke Eschmeyer is a strike away from stranding a pair of Mavericks at first and second and getting out of trouble. Ostrom smashes his bat on the edge of the plate. He is determined to get a hit here, and that pitch just a little outside the zone, and the count goes 1-2.
That was a close one. Good take.
Something about baseball on the 4th of July, America's pastime, and on America's birthday.
And we don't have
There's a true purity to what we have with baseball on the 4th of July. There's a swing and a miss. Ball gets away from the catcher, throw down to first in time, and that will be the 2nd strikeout of the game and the 3rd out of the inning. And the Missoula Mavericks come up empty in the visiting half of the 2nd inning. There were no runs. There was 1 hit. There were no errors, and there were 2 Missoula Mavericks left on the base paths. Through an inning and a half here at Fitzgerald Stadium in Rapid City, South Dakota, we're scoreless between the Post 22 Expos and the Missoula Mavericks. You're watching Game 1 of day number 2 of the 49th Annual Firecracker Classic, and this is Hard Hats TV.
Exciting day we've got on tap here. All around the system, we've got 6 games yet again coming in from 10 different teams. Interesting game day 1. Missoula has a chance to stake themselves an early lead on the entire field. They get a double header right now. If they win them both, they set themselves up very nicely for the rest of the tournament if they would be 3-0. This is what the schedule looks like today. We got Missoula Expos at the start, followed by Bellevue West versus Missoula. Bellevue West, the only team to mercy rule another team yesterday. Then the Lobos not yet. They're going to play Scott Catholic at 11:30. Pueblo plays Pinnacle at 2. 4:30, it's Azteca versus Rhode Island. And then finally, your nightcap on 4th of July, the Hard Hats versus Premier West.
Thank you, Oliver Fell. Mike Fell with you. I'll be broadcasting the 4th game of the day a little bit later on. Oliver will have games 2, 3, 5, and 6. Oliver, you are a marathon man.
Yeah.
For this tournament.
Even marathon man need relievers.
That's true.
Even your workhorse needs a change of pace back.
That's right. If you're looking for a good movie, I recommend The Marathon Man. Good movie. Just don't.
What about The Music Man?
Just don't go to the dentist the day after you watch The Marathon Man.
What about The Music Man? You were in a show with that.
Oh yeah, I love The Music Man. That's a great American 4th of July film, actually.
Oh!
There's a ball hit up the middle
Off his
the
foot?
pitcher. off his foot and
Ow.
reaching base
Uh-oh.
is McCoy Rippentrop, and that smash really hit the foot of the starting pitcher for Missoula, Brennan Lab. And this could be an injury.
That hit him. He jumped in the air, then it seemed to have bounced off the ground, hit him squarely on the top of the foot. And as he fell down, possibly a harsh landing on his ankle.
Yeah, this is
Uh-oh.
definitely a concerning
Where's our trainer?
situation. I saw
There's
the
a trainer in
trainer.
the building.
Yeah, I saw the trainer, the young
Hope
lady.
they're not off to a coffee
No,
break.
no, no, no. She's here.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, I saw her show up. So let's hope. Yep, she's on the scene.
It looks like his right foot.
Yep, I said hello to the trainer when she was coming in. So she's going to take a look at the Missoula Mavericks pitcher. And Brennan Lab
He's trying to put some weight on it.
gets to his feet. That's a good sign.
It's that left foot,
But
actually.
if that's the foot where you're putting your weight,
That's where he'd be landing on.
okay, well that's probably going to be enough to continue. And trainer hears what she needs to hear, and we are going to get back to baseball. Good to see Brennan.
We didn't break a minute tower.
To this point, hang in there. Now, one thing we see in American Legion baseball quite frequently is when there's a collision or any type of what I call a testing injury, the player stays in the game, but then as things swell up or if there's a certain amount of aggravation with playing the game, a lot of times you'll see that player leave after an inning or so.
Yeah. Well, you hope not. You hope he's all right, but he is still favoring his right foot at the moment. The good news for him, he's a lefty, so he's pushing off that foot, not landing on that foot. Had he been a righty, it would have been a little bit worse. But he's going to test it, see how it goes. They need all the pitching they can get, and here's one of their better ones.
Here comes Hadley Burris. Hadley, right-handed pitcher, facing left-hander. There's a throwback to first, left-hander Brennan Lab, and I think that's an encouraging sign. Brennan Lab, after getting struck in the foot by that, or landing awkwardly with the ball getting hit right back to the mound a moment ago, has a pickoff move, and if you're trying to make sure you're okay, you're probably not going to try to throw to first and pick somebody off. So that's an encouraging sign, I think, if you're a Missoula Mavericks fan watching this broadcast today. Count now 1-0 to Hadley Burris. Second throw back to first.
McCoy.
Rippentrop back to first base.
McCoy probably the only player on this team that won't steal on you.
Well, he's the first man to reach base today, thus receiving a great amount of attention from hurler Brennan Lab for the Missoula Mavericks. Count is now 1-1 to Hadley Burris.
Rippentrop.
The pitch to Burris. There's a swing and a miss, strike two.
Rippentrop is tied for last on the team in stolen bases with 2, but he has not been caught.
Well, that's what you call a perfect stolen base percentage, still intact.
Carlos Santana has one of those in the MLB.
That's cool. There's a swing and a miss, strike three, and Hadley Burris goes down on strikes. The first strikeout victim of the morning for the Expos. Now here comes Dawson Inhofer. Dawson, extremely fast, steps into the batter's box. So
it's interesting.
Back to first.
Interesting to see him out here. I know that he participates on the Expos when he's not expected to play for the Hard Hats. Because I don't think he can play for both teams in a day. There might be an eligibility issue. But he plays for this team right now, would imply that he would not be a part of the game tonight, which would rule out the possibility of a relief game. Or like a River Walters start later tonight against Premier West.
Interesting. Here we go. Count now 0-1. Inhofer showing bunt, and here's an attempt to steal the base, and he is out. McCoy Rippentrop is caught for the first time this year with a good throw down to first by Jace Beccari, the catcher, and a tag applied by Henry Wilson, the second baseman for the Missoula Mavericks. So there's a caught stealing, a 2-4 put out. And now Inhofer batting with nobody on base in a scoreless tie here in the bottom half of the second inning. Good crowd on hand. Of course, Expos. A lot of family and friends to cheer on the Expos this morning. And no doubt the Expos are excited to play against this level of competition. And it's worth noting with 8 seniors and 2 super seniors on this year's Hard Hats team, there are maybe some other years where some of these Expos would be getting a lot of prime playing time on the Hard Hats. There's a grounder and an error committed by the shortstop. First error of the game, as that time shortstop Colin Boyce just couldn't find the handle on that ball, hit directly at him to the left of second base. So reaching base is the speedy Dawson Inhofer. And if you're going to try to stop Dawson Inhofer, you need everything to go right.
Yeah,
And there goes Inhofer. There's a pickoff.
You're still not
Throw
getting
to
him.
second.
You're still not getting
him. Dawson Inhofer with cool Papa Bell kind of speed. Able to get caught off of first base and just steal second, just to make it fair, it almost seems.
He had
Wow.
I believe 73 steals last year in this Expos program.
Outstanding. Man, is Dawson fast. And I see cool Papa Bell speed, if you know what that refers to.
It's a deep dig.
Back in the old Negro leagues,
Mm-hmm.
cool Papa Bell was described as so fast that he could be under the covers and in bed before his light went out when he turned it off in his room. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Trevor Slosher, and that gets away.
It's probably also a testament to the
Inhofer's at third.
Electrical wiring of the day.
Yeah. Where cool Papa Bell was faster than the speed of light. Yeah. That was what was implied.
Okay. I overdid it a little, but 47 steals, just 3 caught stealing last year.
Unbelievable. There's a chopper, and here comes a throw to first, and it's in time to retire the side and prevent Dawson Inhofer from crossing home plate with the first run of the game. So good play there made by the third baseman, throw to first, and that retires the side. But post 22 able to make some things happen, and we are still tied at 0-0 going into the third inning. There were no runs in the bottom half of the second. There was 1 hit, there was 1 error, and there was 1 man left on base. We go to the third inning in a game that is shaping up to be very entertaining, setting the tone for the day as we bring you the post-22 Expos and the Missoula Mavericks. Post-22 Expos 0-1 in pool play. The Missoula Mavericks 1-0. And stay tuned after this game as we have 5 more games coming your way. And the big game coming up, which Oliver Fell will have for you at around 9 o'clock this morning, will be these Missoula Mavericks against the 1-0 Bellevue West Chieftains. Or Thunderbirds, I think it's.
They're the Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds, yeah. The Bellevue East Chieftains.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my Omaha Metro team scrambled.
And that game going to have some serious implications on the rest of this tournament. Bellevue West at the moment, the only team to mercy rule anybody so far. They won 9-1 over their fellow Omaha compatriots, the Scott Catholic Skyhawks, sponsored by Arbor Bank. And so they are currently 1-0, second by tiebreaker in this tournament. Or no, they would be third right now. Missoula, having played 7 innings compared to 5, would have their run allowed diluted slightly further for the run allowed per innings pitched. But very close. Person who wins that game, possibly, I mean, that's a huge step to taking one of the 2 spots, the championship, on Sunday.
Cole Truglio leads off for Missoula, the number 9 hitter in the lineup. Missoula's head coach Cole Anderson in his 32nd year coaching the Missoula Mavericks. That is an outstanding coach in Big Sky Country for a long time, folks. Here's a tipped pitch. Count goes to 0-2 to Truglio. Burke Eschmeyer, the starter for post 22, getting it done the first time through the lineup against a 37-17 Missoula Mavericks ball club, second in their conference in the great state of Montana behind the Billings Scarlets. Very impressive team that the Hard Hats faced along with Missoula back at Joe Perks Field the first weekend in May that we had for you on Hard Hats TV.
Something to mention here, Missoula has already played post 22 this year. They played them once in that series.
There's a smash to short, throw to first in time to retire Truglio, leading off here in third.
But the Hard Hats played Missoula earlier this year. The Hard Hats had won 2 out of 3 against a very good Billings group that had, I believe, swept them last season. Or no, they won 1 last season.
Yeah, actually, yeah, they won 2 out of 3. Yes.
Yeah, and they won 2 out of 3 this year. And then it felt like Missoula was possibly, I mean, having come to the tournament, finishing 2-2 in pool play last year, feels a little bit like, I guess the guys I don't know, they were maybe out of gas game 4 of it, and they came up empty.
Yeah, that game 4 was just a strange game where there was a really big inning, a 10-run inning for Missoula in the 4th inning, and the pitcher for the Hard Hats, I can't remember who it was, just really,
I believe that was Fredrickson, right?
I don't think so.
I can go back and look.
But really struggled, and no, I think it was. Well, I can't remember. I don't want to say the wrong name, but it was just a very tough.
And that's what Missoula does.
4th inning, and that's what Missoula does.
They
are very skilled at finding that big inning in which they put a lot of pressure and they just keep coming at you. Here's a chopper to the pitcher, Eschmeyer, throw to first in time. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 3rd. Post 22 getting what they need from Burke Eschmeyer. That's a 2-3 put out.
It was Sales and
Roberts.
It was
Broden Sales.
Sales and Roberts.
Yeah, and Aiden Roberts. They just each had a lot of struggles in that 4th inning against Missoula.
As well as a few errors on the defense.
It was just a very rough inning. One of those innings that can happen sometimes.
But Missoula has beat the senior team for these guys. And now they're playing the junior team.
And getting all they can handle at the moment. Of course, Sam Matosic, he is available off the bench to pinch hit in this game.
Or pitch.
Good point. Patrick Davis, the hitter now. The 2-1 count from Eschmeyer, waits for the next pitch, and that's over for strike 2. Can Burke Eschmeyer close the door and get a second 1-2-3 inning out of 3 innings of work? Let's see. Here's the pitch. That ball is drilled, and it is going to be a base hit into left field for Patrick Davis. So with 2 men out, Davis is on deck, and is on board, and here comes the number 3 hitter, Jace Beccari. Jace did not appear in last night's victory over Premier West, and he's batting 3rd in the lineup. And someone doesn't appear in a lineup, and then they pop up at 3rd in the order. It almost reminds me in horse racing of a great horse that doesn't compete in the Kentucky Derby, but they just show up in the Belmont Stakes. Here comes a smash for the Preakness. Yeah, one of the Triple Crown races. There's a smash to first, and that is going to be out number 3 as first baseman McCoy Rippentrop easily handles that smash and touches the bag to complete an unassisted putout. And then the visiting half of the 3rd inning, there were no runs for Missoula. There was 1 hit. There were no errors, and there was 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 3rd, scoreless in Rapid City. This is the Firecracker Classic on Hard Hats TV.
I'm going to try something that you guys might like.
Blaine Hunt, Easton Tesh, and Kane McLeod due up. Want to give a big shout out to Steve Ammerman, my good friend and South Dakota Sportscaster of the Year. If you're watching, Steve, we're glad that you're able to check things out. No score. Got a little bit of cloud cover, kind of taking away that sun glare. We're not expecting to have high temperatures today. In fact, for the second year in a row, somewhat cool 4th of July in Rapid City. Last year it was 59 degrees for a high. Coldest 4th of July on record. There's a bunt down the line, handled by the third baseman. Throw to first is in time. What a play. Right there by Missoula's Cole Trujillo. He had to run quickly to get that soft bunt that was going to clearly steer fair. I do. And then a good play by Finn Davis to retire Blaine Hunt to lead off the third inning. And now Easton Tesh is due up. Did you do something different with the camera over?
I did. I have a new angle.
Oh, very cool. Very neat. So enjoy the new camera angle, folks.
Just a little touch.
All right. Oh,
just a little pitcher angle.
There we go. Easton Tesh now behind and even in the count, 1-1. Sees the next pitch go inside for ball 2. Tesh, the number 9 hitter in the Expos lineup, waits for the delivery from Brennan Labb, who seems to be over the concern over his plant foot, as there was a smash up the middle that led to a brief injury delay. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. There's a chopper back to the wet netting. Here comes the 3-2 full count pitch with nobody on and 1 down here in the bottom of the third. That ball is slapped up the middle. It's knocked down. That'll be an infield single for Easton Tesh. So a 1-out single puts the Expos back in business. I love the Expos name. When I was in college, I saw so many Montreal Expos games. And one year, the roof caved in at Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and all of the Expos home games were played on the road. And I had a chance to sit right behind the Expos dugout for a few games because the season ticket holders didn't have priority seating rights to those auxiliary extra Montreal Expos games. There's a pickoff, and there's a throw to second. The second baseman and shortstop didn't know who had the play, and that will lead to an extra base for Easton Tesh. That was a mental error, a breakdown of sorts between the Missoula Maverick middle infielders, shortstop Colin Boyce, and second baseman Henry Wilson. The throw to second was on target, but it was unclear as to who was going to handle the ball, and both of the Maverick middle infielders thought the other middle infielder was going to take the throw down the line. And I think there was a chance that Tesh was going to be out at second. Instead, he's standing at third with 1 out. So any kind of hard contact here from leadoff hitter Kane McLeod can give the Expos an early lead with Tesh at third base. Here comes the pitch from Brennan Labb, and that pitch is over for a strike. Count goes to 2-1. These two pitchers have been efficient so far for the Expos and Mavericks. they have not been what you would consider dominant strikeout machines like we saw on the mound from a few aces that made their Firecracker appearances yesterday. Here comes a pitch outside, and that's a walk. And Cade McLeod is on board for the first time this morning. So there are runners at the corners now with one out.
Oh, he's taking off.
And they seem to have picked off Kane McLeod. And now this
They're
may
more
have
worried
been
about
an
him.
intentional play to try to get the ball to go away from Easton Tesh, who's at third. So runners will get back to first and second, first base and third base. That was very strange. Usually, when somebody draws a walk, they just stay at first base. But McLeod tested the limits a little bit of conventional baseball and almost drew a throw that might have opened the gate for Easton Tesh to race from third to home. And that could have manufactured, and I mean manufactured. We're talking making bricks without straw.
They use straw and bricks.
A run for the uh, the Expos. Well, they used to.
I'm sure it's like concrete now.
Well, they used to make bricks without straw, with straw.
I'm sure we do it now.
You didn't want to make bricks without straw.
Oh
Here
man,
comes
yeah, I don't want to.
Ben Hassett will now bat. He's the left-hander. Throw down to
Oh,
first.
off the
his
helmet.
And he's going to score a run.
Oh, unlucky.
That is a header, and here comes maybe another run as Kane McLeod goes from first to third, and that throw down to third, it did not have to happen, to be candid. And when you make that throw, you better know what you're doing.
Well,
and that ball hit the helmet of Easton Tesh, ricocheted into foul territory, and that was the first run of the game. And post 22 Expos have a 1-0 lead over a Missoula Mavericks team that stands 20 games above 500 coming into this one.
Well, what I think I saw there was that the Missoula guys saw McLeod taking off, assumed it was a similar rendition of that other play where they were trying to get him to throw, and thought that that the man at third was going to come home no matter what, assuming a throw, and he was banking on that.
Ball fouled away and out of play into the grass.
Where are the kids? There's like 3 of them out here.
Kids are sleeping in.
There's
Here
one right
comes
there.
a kid.
Yo, he's booking it.
Yeah, play the Chariots of Fire music for that little one.
And the Expo's going to get it.
Yeah. Let's see if he throws the ball to the kid. Yes, he does. That's a good young man right there. There's a foul ball, and maybe the kid can get another ball. No, this time
I have a question.
Somebody else gets the ball.
What's the etiquette? What age do you have to give to a lesser age? If you're 11, can you keep the ball if a 6-year-old asks for it?
I think you get to be 11, it almost decides how innocent your face looks, whether you get that ball or
That's
not.
a good answer.
Here's
Good
a
answer.
Pop up to the shortstop. Yeah, sometimes if you have like a Joe Germain baby face, you might get the ball. Whereas if you've got more of a grizzled set of
You got an Inhofer
facial features, you're probably not getting the ball.
You got the Inhofer jawline.
Also depends on the eyes.
Mm.
You know, there's a pop up, out of play. Count is 0-1 now to Lars Kiefer. Lars grounded out his first time up. At third base is Kane McLeod. 1 run is scored. The Expos lead the Mavericks 1-0. We're in the bottom of the third inning. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you. Game 1, starting things off this morning. Want to give a big shout out to South Dakota Sportscaster of the Year, Steve Ammerman. And thanks, Steve, for helping me last night with my Dick Mata forgetfulness. Was trying to place who some of the Matas in sports were, and it was Thad Mata that Oliver mentioned, the longtime Ohio State Buckeyes coach that now coaches the Butler Bulldogs in the Big East, and there you go. But it was Dick Motta who coached in the NBA and I believe won over 700 games as an NBA head coach with a number of teams, including the world champion Washington Bullets with Wes Unseld.
Very possible.
Lars Kiefer down in the count 0-2 now.
He won almost 1,000 games.
Well, Dick Motta, he was the man.
He had 935.
And he wore some very colorful suits in the 70s. Of course, most NBA coaches did.
Oh, when after being fired by the Nuggets, he went back to Utah and made a bed and breakfast with his wife.
Oh, that's sweet. All right, there's a pitch in the zone. Count goes to 2-2.
It's a good morning.
It is a good morning.
It's a lot colder than yesterday, which is nice. It's like marathon running weather. It's
Yeah.
like mid 60s.
Been compared to robots.
He said that at the very start.
Okay,
We've warmed up.
I was gonna say, some of the topics we've already covered and some of
Igor,
the stories, I would say we would be different kinds of robots if that's the case. Here comes a 3-2 pitch and a foul ball out of play. We'll see if one of the boys runs all the way down to get that ball.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It looks like a few, but not all of the Bellevue West guys have pulled in.
The Thunderbirds are arriving, and they are 1-0 in this tournament with a big game coming up against Missoula.
Watch out.
There's a foul ball back to the screen, and the same boy that got the ball from the Expos player a few minutes ago was able to chase that down. He's doing pretty well.
He's got a whole dollar.
He woke up early. He's making some cash.
Oh, he's gonna get two.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe he's got competition. I can't see.
He did. He got it. This kid is on fire.
He's got one in each hand.
Oliver, maybe you should go ask his name.
Should I go interview him?
Yeah, go get his name.
All right.
Yeah, we gotta give him some publicity here on this broadcast. There's a pitch over the edge. That's strike 3, and the Missoula Mavericks strand Kane McLeod at third base, and that's the second strikeout of the game as Lars Kiefer is retired. Now 0-2 on the morning. But the post 22 Expos have scored in the third inning and taken a 1-0 lead on a throw down to third that bounced off and ricocheted off the helmet of Easton Tesh, who reached with an infield single. So the Expos score 1 run in the bottom of the third inning on 1 hit. There were no errors, and check that. There was 1 error. No, there were no errors, and there was 1 man left on base. Through 3 innings of play in this 7-inning contest, the post 22 Expos have a 1-0 lead over the Missoula Mavericks. You're watching the 49th annual Firecracker Classic, day number 2 on the 4th of July on Hard Hats TV.
Yeah, it's a great morning. We will have a good day. The weather is supposed to be a little more cooperative today, but never count on anything in tournament season. Supposed to be, a little chillier, high in the mid 70s. A nice Independence Day. Not for you, Igor. Unfortunately, you had your Canada Day pretty recently, but this is America's Day today.
It is America's Day, and we sure appreciate Canada, though, unless they send us smoky, uncontained wildfire smoke. Here's a high fly ball to center field, and that ball is caught in center field in one of the deeper parts of our ballpark. Good catch there by center fielder Lars Kiefer for out number 1. Chris Compton really gave that ball a ride. Yeah, I love Canada. I love the game of hockey that Canada gave us, and on top of that, I appreciate the fact that Canada has such a great anthem that we get to hear during hockey games and baseball games.
It's up there. I think I put it in the A tier when I was ranking every country's anthem.
Okay.
Well, like second highest.
I really like it. And I just don't like those wildfires Here's a smash to set short, throw to first in time.
Are we much better in the U.S.? Not
Um,
really.
yeah, we are.
California blazes up once every like year and a half.
Yeah, but
Colorado, Arizona recently.
I think Canada's wildfires are just out of control. But that's just my opinion. All right, Skylar Fairchild, now the hitter. 2 up, 2 down here in the top of the 4th inning. And I've noticed I get headaches with Canadian wildfires that I don't get with American
I
wildfires.
think that's because the only smoke that gets to you is from Canada because you live up here. I don't
Maybe.
think that California smoke is getting to you, bud.
Okay.
I think it's going out to sea.
Okay. No, it would be go the other
It would
direction.
go into like Utah.
Yeah. And sometimes it does get here, actually. Counts 3-0 now to Skylar Fairchild.
I'll send you Drake and Bieber. What are you offering? I want a few first thrown in.
Here comes the pitch. Ball is lifted high into center field. Kiefer calls for it, makes the catch, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Burke Eschmeyer, who has staked the post 22 Expos to a 1-0 lead. We're halfway through this 7-inning ball game, and the Expos trying to get to 500 here in the pool play of the Firecracker Classic. Have the Missoula Mavericks down by a count of 1-0 in what has been a very quiet pitcher's duel between Burke Eschmeyer of Post 22, Expos, and Brennan Lab of the Missoula Mavericks. In the top of the 4th inning, there were no runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. We go to the bottom half of the 4th, the home half of the 4th. The Expos due to send up the middle of the order. McCoy, Rippentrop, Hadley Burris, and Dawson Inhofer. You're watching Hard Hats Television.
Yeah. Big moment here. Igor says that that Canada would send us Drake and Bieber. I don't know if we want that, frankly. Um, I'm willing to give him Snooki and a third as compensation. They can have her
I don't know who that is.
from Jersey Shore. She was on Dancing with the Stars.
I don't
This
know.
is like
I don't know
this is the
Snooki.
late 2000s like
I
celebrity.
just don't know Snooki.
Well, seems like Canada has accepted. It'll be official pending a physical.
Okay, McCoy Rippentrop will lead things off, and I'm just not familiar with Snooki. McCoy Rippentrop waits for the pitch from Brennan Lab. And there's a bouncer.
Oh,
Bounce off
how
of
did it go
the
so high?
catcher. That's a good question.
That was an
Oliver.
unbelievable height.
That was quite a
How did that even? How
deflection.
does that work?
I don't know.
Is there that much curve?
Here comes the 2-0 pitch now to Rippentrop. And that ball is hit right at the second baseman, who is shifted over. And that is an easy 4-3 putout if you're scoring with us for out number 1. Hadley Burris now due up. Hadley struck out his first time up. The post 22 Expos leading 1-0 in game 1 of our 6-game presentation here on the 4th of July. Some great 4th of July movies I can think of to watch. I really like Jaws. That has a lot of 4th of July reference going on. Also appreciate The Music Man. And
A youth baseball movie, The Sandlot.
The Sandlot. Good choice there, Oliver. There's a ball hit right over to the shortstop for out number 2. Good catch made there by Maverick shortstop Colin Boyce. And now here comes Dawson Inhofer, who we have compared in the speed department already to Cool Papa Bell from the old Negro Leagues. Here comes a pitch to Dawson. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. Dawson Inhofer, younger brother of Ridge Inhofer, who played for the Hard Hats last year. There's a pitch over the edge of the plate for strike 2. Dawson trying to reach base and wreak havoc when he gets there. Here comes the pitch. There's a ball right at the pitcher, handled by Lab. Throw to first in time. And that is a 1-2-3 inning for the Missoula Mavericks, who race back into the dugout, keeping the score at 1-0 as we head to inning number 5. You're watching Hard Hats TV coverage of the 49th annual Firecracker Classic. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you. This is Hard Hats TV.
Yeah, Igor makes a call for National Lampoon. Would that be summer vacation, possibly, for 4th of July movies?
Oh, yeah, okay, I could see that one.
That's just
By
it's
the
like
way,
the
for
third.
Canada Day, I would recommend the McKenzie Brothers movies for Canada Day.
That's a good, yeah. Who else is there? I don't know. Canada makes good music. I don't know if they make good movies.
The McKenzie Brothers are very funny. They are very funny. I think I've shown you clips of the McKenzie
Yeah,
Brothers.
if I'm not mistaken, I think Caillou was Canadian, like in creation. I know that My Sister's a Vampire, the Disney show, was all filmed in Canada. They tried to act like it was California, though. That was something. There were a few shows like that. Um, yeah, I mean it's oh, Coach Torvey. He walks between. I think that's Logan over there with him. I haven't had the pleasure to meet him, but
No, yeah. Just go introduce yourself. Absolutely. Former voice of Hard Hats TV. Maybe we can even get him to come in the booth at some point.
yeah, maybe.
And say hi to everybody. Henry Wilson leading things off, the number 7 hitter for the Missoula Mavericks, facing Burke Eschmeyer last time up. Henry Wilson was able to reach base on a walk. Here comes a pitch to Wilson. That's a little bit high. I like the home plate umpire. He uses his hand signals to indicate if a pitch is a little high or a little low.
He explains it. He shows his work.
He does. He shows his work, as they say in academic arithmetic circles.
Yeah.
There's now 1 and 2.
In those all the time.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us remember those circles. Here is a pitch outside. The count goes to 2-2 now to Henry Wilson.
You've been talking about circles in those circles.
Yeah. Count is 2-2 now to Henry Wilson. Henry Wilson has one of those timeless names. You could have been Henry Wilson for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1915, and you could be Henry Wilson in 2024 for the Missoula Mavericks.
Could have been a pirate.
There's a ball hit back to the fence. Keep it.
You could have been a real pirate with that name.
Okay.
You know, with like Henry Two Shoes Wilson.
Oh, there you go. Well, you're gonna make me want to play putt-putt at Pirates Cove one of these days again.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're looking for a rematch there, Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Counts now 3-2.
You got me in the
Henry
series.
Wilson.
I think 4-1. I got to go back to the Mall of America and train myself.
Here's a pitch. The Gopher Classic coming up. There's a grounder to third. Throw to first in time to retire the leadoff hitter in the top half of the 5th inning for Missoula. What a performance by Burke Eschmeyer. Hasn't been flashy, hasn't been strikeout heavy, but it's been effective. And right now, this game picking up in intensity, and this is the second day in a row Missoula here at the Firecracker has been in a 1-0 ball game into the late innings. There's a pop-up to center, and that is caught by Lars Kiefer for the second out of the inning. And now Cole Truglio due up. Cole grounded out to short back in the 3rd inning for Missoula. So glad you're with us. Happy birthday, America.
Well, kind of. This is more like its conception day. This is the day where we said we're gonna start making America.
That's right. All right, here comes a pitch inside for a strike.
Due date didn't really happen until like 1781.
Well, we celebrate our birthday
Yeah.
on this day. Here comes the pitch, and that pitch is outside, for ball, and I know it's going to be really big in 2 years when we get to 250 years old. And I think this is going to be an incredible celebration in 2026. Here is a grounder to second, throw to first in time, and another 1-2-3 inning. So for the third time in 5 innings, Burke Eschmeyer able to say no runs, no hits, no errors, and no man left on base as Missoula finds itself on the wrong end of a 1-0 score going to the bottom of the 5th inning here in a big game in this tournament for the Missoula Mavericks. And the post-22 Expos really firing each other up, saying, let's go, let's go. Boy, when you say let's go that loud, you almost expect somebody to like smash something against their
I
head
know.
or do something
He's
crazy.
really meaning it.
You know, but I like it. I like that intensity. I like a competitive yelp once in a while.
Yeah, something fun going on there. It's going to be interesting. I will try to see if we can get Logan for like game number 2 or something. Maybe he is out of practice, but we'd like to have him on the show. I believe that's him. He's sitting right next to Coach. Looks like the guy that shows up when I look him up in Google Images. So I'm gonna believe that's Logan Torby over there. Not sure if he wants to be on the clock or something. He knows he's doing this for free, but hey.
We now bring you the bottom of the 5th inning. Mike Fell, Oliver Fell with you. Trevor Slosher leading things off. Here comes the pitch to Trevor. That's on the edge for a strike. Out for his 5th inning of work is Brennan Lab, and he has been able to tough it out after that tough, painful incident with his right foot back in the 2nd inning. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Trevor Slosher. That ball is hit to third, handled by Truglio. Throw to first in time. Cole Truglio, he has just been outstanding, constantly coming in on grounders throughout the first 5 innings of play from his hot corner position. And sometimes that is a very overlooked part of playing third base. Everybody thinks about the quick reflexive reaction moments at third when the ball is smashed down the third base line. Not everybody always thinks about what happens when there's a bunt or the ball is a dribbler towards third base. That's not an easy play to make either. It requires a different set of skills and a certain amount of balance and dexterity that is not incumbent upon all who play the position. Blaine Hunt now the batter, facing a 1-1 pitch here from Brennan Lamb. And there's a pitch that catches the edge. It's a 2-1 count. Coming up next, it'll be the Bellevue West Thunderbirds 1-0 against the Missoula Mavericks, who will either be 2-0 in this tournament or 1-1, depending on what happens in the next 2.5 innings of play in this game. Blaine Hunt now with a 3-1 count. Awaits the pitch, and he swings and gets a piece of it. That moves the count full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Neither team has had very many base runners. It's been a very fast-moving game. We think we're going to have dry weather all day, and we won't have any rain delays. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3.
We're gonna move things up just in case, though. I would assume.
You would think so.
Plus, to be fair, we have. This is always the problem with 6 games in a day. Is we start the first game only has an hour 30 before the next game is supposed to start, which never works, and so everything gets pushed back. So we are technically going to be behind, but not really.
I gotcha. Easton Tesh now the hitter. He singled and scored the only run of the game. Also took a throw down to third off of his hard hat helmet. He waits for the pitch, and the ball is deflected. I learned something I didn't know recently. I watched a documentary by South Dakota Public Broadcasting about Hard Hats baseball, and I always assumed, being from Omaha, Nebraska, from outside the area, that the Hard Hats referred to the early mining days with that happened here in the Black Hills. Not the case. It was just a matter of the batting helmets, and that's what led to the Hard Hats nickname.
Hmm.
Count is now
I've been
2-2.
getting that wrong for a while.
Yeah, I probably told it to
You
you wrong.
did.
Yeah, sorry about
You
that,
misled
Oliver.
me.
Your dad was wrong again. There's
Ugh.
a pitch outside. Count goes 3-2. For some, more likely to be wrong than admit that I'm wrong. So
Yeah.
we're getting everything today. Here comes the full count with 2 strikes or 2 outs. And that pitch is inside for ball 4. And Easton Tesh is now aboard with 2 outs here in the home half of the 5th inning. We're going to have a pinch runner.
No, this is courtesy runner, right?
Courtesy runner. Yeah,
Just
courtesy.
for the catcher.
Yep. So Easton Tesh will be run for. Who's going to run for him?
I don't have a number.
Okay, I'll let you check it out.
He has a big black mitt on that doesn't look like it's actually a mitt. It looks like it's something else.
Okay, well, we'll see who runs for Easton Tesh. Kane McLeod, I bet he's fast. There's a throw to first. It gets away, and that'll be a 2-bagger for Tayton Giddings. Tayton Giddings able to advance on that throwing error from the pitcher. And that pinch runner quickly goes from first to third here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And there is now a man at third with 2 outs to Kane McLeod. McLeod hits it right at Truglio. He's got it. Throw to first in time. And Cole Truglio has been nails through 5 innings at the hot corner position so far this morning to retire the side. So, in the bottom half of the 5th inning, there were no runs. There were no hits. There was an error. And there was 1 man left on base. We've played 5 innings here at Fitzgerald Stadium in Rapid City. It's the Post 22 Expos 1 and the Missoula Mavericks 0. You're watching Hard Hats TV from the 49th Annual Firecracker Classic.
Well, as we enter the final little bit here, it is a good reminder that the secondary tiebreaker after head-to-head and your wins total is the points, runs allowed per innings pitched. Both teams really keeping that to a minimum here. Missoula in particular now has allowed just 1 or 2 runs over the previous 12 innings, which is a huge asset to them. And should they win, even if it was like 2-1 or something like that, they would set themselves up nicely to be in the driver's seat the rest of the tournament.
Burke Eschmeyer out for the top half of the 6th inning. He has gone 5 shutout innings, 5 scoreless innings, and he will face the top of the order for the 3rd time through the order right here. And this is a very significant inning. And keep in mind, Sam Matisich, the outstanding star for Missoula, is available off the bench to pick up a bat and come out there if needed. You would think he would get called upon in a 1-0 game with so much on the line here. Missoula only gave up 1 run yesterday in their win over Premier West. They do not want to be 500 going into a game against the Bellevue West Thunderbirds. Colin Boyce leads things off for Missoula. He now has a 2-1 count. Burke Eschmeyer trying to retire the leadoff hitter, as he has been able to do every inning except in the 2nd. Boyce pops it up, called for by the 2nd baseman, who makes the catch over the shoulder for the first out of the 6th inning. Good catch there. Battling the sun was Blaine Hunt. And now Patrick Davis, left-handed swinger, up to the plate. Jace McCary on deck for Missoula. There's a high pitch from Eschmeyer. Good play there by the catcher to handle that ball. Of course, nobody's on base. Not as important to have the meticulous defense at this sequence. There's a chopper to first. It's bobbled, but then picked up with a foot on the bag for out number 2. That'll be a first base unassisted put out. And Davis is retired. And here comes Jace McCary. And let's keep an eye on whether Sam Matisich makes an appearance here. He may be saved for the 7th inning. Who knows? Or they may wait to see, because they have Chris Compton on deck, and he's a cleanup hitter.
Well, he could pinch hit. My guess is Matisich would.
That's what I'm
would
thinking.
be pitching game 2. That's my guess. That's why he wouldn't be playing right now.
But with a 1-0 game, and you have that kind of bat, it would make sense that you would expect the skipper for Missoula.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't care. He'll be happy to get out there
to make a move. Count has quickly moved to 3-0, and for the first time in a long time, Burke Eschmeyer struggling to locate his pitches here with 2 out in the top of the 6th. And there's ball 4, and there's a 4-pitch walk. Boy, where did that come from? Eschmeyer hasn't even been near giving up a walk, except for one sequence in the top of the 5th inning. You have to go all the way back to the 2nd inning since Burke Eschmeyer issued a free pass to Missoula. So now Bakari is on base, and here comes Chris Compton. He's dangerous. He's the cleanup hitter in this lineup, and let's see what happens here. Burke Eschmeyer versus Chris Compton. And there's the 5th consecutive ball as Eschmeyer bounces a pitch outside the strike zone for ball 1. Finn Davis on deck. 1 man on, 2 out. We're in the top of the 6th. Expos leading the Mavericks 1-0 here in game 1 of day 2 of the Firecracker Classic. Expos trying to get to 1-1 in pool play. Missoula trying to stay undefeated in pool play action. And they will play 1-0 Bellevue West coming up next. And Oliver Fell will have that call for you. Count is 3-0 now to Compton, and that's 7 straight balls from Burke Eschmeyer. No activity in the Expos bullpen at the moment. Here comes the pitch, and that's over for a strike, and that is the first strike in about 3 minutes for Burke Eschmeyer.
It should be noted that Rippentrop, Kiefer, McLeod, a lot of these position players can also pitch.
And there's ball 4. Good point, Oliver.
So they might not need bullpen if they're going to those guys.
Now Missoula really has something going. And here comes Finn Davis. Still no signs of Matisich coming out of the dugout. What number is Matisich, Oliver?
He's 16, I think.
He is 11.
11.
Keep an eye on that dugout for Missoula. The Expos lead 1-0. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Missoula, for the first time since the 2nd inning, has a pair of base runners in this 1-0 ball game. And the tying run is in scoring position for Finn Davis. Finn Davis hits the ball right out to the center fielder, Lars Kiefer, and that'll do it. Burke Eschmeyer able to put up 6 scoreless frames against the Missoula Mavericks, a great ball club from Big Sky Country that stands 20 games over 500 and 2nd place behind the Billings Scarlets in the Legion Conference in which they play. And that was an impressive exit pitch there from Burke Eschmeyer to strand a pair of Mavericks at 1st and 2nd base in a critical spot in the top half of the 6th inning. To recap the Missoula Mavericks half of the sixth. There were no runs, there were no hits, there were no errors, and there were 2 Mavericks left on base. We've played 5.5 here in Rapid City. The post 22 Expos lead the Missoula Mavericks 1-0, and you're watching the Firecracker Classic on Hard Hats TV. Ben Hassett, Lars Kiefer, and McCoy Rippentrop are due up. If anyone gets on base, Hadley Burris will make an appearance. Here comes, for his 6th inning of work, outstanding pitcher Brennan Lab, and there's a bunt that goes foul as Ben Hassett, the speedy Ben Hassett, tries to get on base via a bunt. Post 22 Expos, they lost a tough one 5-4 yesterday, trying to get to 1-1 in the tournament here. Here's a bouncer back to the screen. Count is now 1-1. Expos lost to South Kingstown, Rhode Island 5-4 in the first game of the tournament yesterday. There's a low pitch. Count goes to 2-1 now to Hassett. Here comes the 2-1 pitch from Lab, and that ball is fouled out of play. The count squares now at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Hope you're able to really have some fun today. Be safe with those fireworks. There's a grounder up the middle for a base hit. And Ben Hassett gets a nice ovation from his teammates in the Expos dugout as the leadoff man is aboard. And how big would it be here if the Expos could push another run or 2 across, keeping in mind that Sam Matisich is available to hit in the 7th inning for Missoula. Matisich hit his 5th home run of the season, a moonshot over the left field wall in Missoula's win yesterday over Premier West, a team featuring players from Colorado, New Mexico, and Wyoming. Lars Kiefer, the hitter. Lars 0 for 2 so far this morning. Let's see if his bat gets a little wake-up call here. There's a pickoff throw back to first, and Ben Hassett that time, if he had a lead, I didn't see it. It seemed like he was standing at first base the whole time.
Should be worried about Hassett, though. 2 stolen bases yesterday.
Here's a pop-up, out of play. Count evens at 1-1. On deck, it's McCoy Rippentrop, the cleanup hitter. What's the record for the Expos this year, Albert?
They are currently 35-9.
Impressive record for the Expos. There's a pitch over the plate, throw down to second is not in time, and Ben Hassett gets his first stolen base of the game.
3rd of the tournament.
And 3rd of the tournament. Way to go, Ben Hassett, if you're an Expos fan. And he now leads off second base. He's in scoring position with nobody out, representing a key insurance run in this 1-0 ball game. There's a chopper back to the home dugout from Lars Kiefer. Lars with a chance to bring home Ben Hassett from second and make it a 2-0 game here in the bottom of the 6th inning, with the Expos currently leading the Missoula Mavericks 1-0. Expos with 3 hits in this game, Missoula with 2. There's a ball hit over the outstretched glove of the shortstop. The runner will be held at 3rd. And now there are runners at the corners with no out, as Lars Kiefer does not get the RBI, but he does advance the runner and gets on base. And now here comes McCoy Rippentrop in a really big spot for the post 22 Expos. Missoula hanging on by a thread at the moment, yet to record an out in the home half of the 6th inning. Trailing 1-0, trying to keep it close for themselves to make a game-saving or game-winning rally in the 7th. There's a throw down to third, and that was dangerous. And there's another stolen base. Lars Kiefer now at second base. And to use the best meteorological analogy possible, I'd say we are seeing storm clouds building for the Expos here against Missoula. Here comes a pitch to Rippentrop. That ball is going to be over the center fielder all the way to the wall. That's a 2-run triple for McCoy Rippentrop. Wow. And listen to this Expos crowd as Rippentrop broke this game wide open with a triple all the way to the wall over center fielder Bryce Ostrom. Wow.
Man.
Rippentrop comes through big time in the clutch to give the Expos a 3-0 lead here in the 6th.
The sun definitely not helping Ostrom. I don't know what it was, but he overplayed that. He came in a little and then was caught out of position as that ball flew over his head. It was a very makeable play. He just either couldn't see it or misjudged it.
That'll be a triple for Rippentrop, and he is at third base now with still no one out as the hit parade continues. Hadley Burris 0 for 2, trying to keep the line moving. You never have enough runs if you're the Expos against a team like Missoula, who is known for big innings. And there's a hit by pitch, and Burris is on base.
Hadley.
And now runners at the corners for the speedy Dawson Inhofer. Inhofer, virtually impossible to get out via the double play grounder because of his blistering speed.
Honestly, you might not get either of them. Hadley Burris this year, 37 steals to only 2 caught stealing. He could very well take second right here, rob him blind.
In trouble.
There he goes.
Brennan Lab. Throw down to second. Not in time. You called it, Oliver. Hadley Burris with a stolen base. And now the Expos with a pair of runners in scoring position, representing potentially the 4th and 5th runs of this game with still no one out. And the double play not in effect. And the force not in effect. They have a base open at first, and the count quickly goes to 2-0 to Dawson Inhofer. Missoula on the ropes, the same Missoula Mavericks team that was able to beat the post 22 Hard Hats at Joe Pertz Field in Billings, Montana back on May 4th. Trailing now 3-0 to the post 22 Expos here on July 4th. Exactly 2 months later. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Inhofer, and that ball goes back to the
they're
pitcher.
stuck in between things.
Throws to first, gets his man after holding the runners. So good play there by Brennan Lab to retire the first out of the inning and keep 2 of the Expos at second and third now with 1 out. What a great start to the 6th inning for the Expos, who have already plated a pair of runs. 2 huge insurance runs as McCoy Rippentrop moment ago with the play of the game. A 2-run double to center. Triple to center. Here's a high fly ball, and that is going to go to the wall in the power alley in right center. That'll score 2 runs.
Keep running.
And that looks like another triple, and it is. Trevor Schlosser with a 2-run triple, doing his very best to emulate his friend and teammate McCoy Rippentrop a moment ago, and that breaks this game wide open. It's now 5-0 in favor of the post 22 Expos, and the Expos have also put a real dent in that runs allowed average against Missoula here in this tournament, to say the least. And Brennan Lab will now come out of the game after 5 1/3 innings of work. He could still be charged with an earned run with the runner at third base. Brennan Lab pitched very well. He just could not get the job done in inning number 6. And now it's a 5-0 lead. Expos have out-hit the Mavericks 6-2 overall in this ball game. And let's see who our new pitcher is for Missoula. It is Coulter Nicolarsson out there. And Oliver, you have a little connection to the Nicolarsson family. Pretty neat.
I do. So earlier this morning, I got to talk with Coulter's dad, Scott. That's Scott is currently in Missoula, originally from Gillette, Wyoming. That's where my mom and her family grew up, and they were friends on the swim team with one another, and even took a trip to Europe. She took a trip to Europe with the Nicolarsons in high school. It's a close connection. It was interesting to see us connect together, but Nicolarsson, a very odd name, not one you see very often. So when we saw it, when I saw it, I was like, that's got to be somebody we know. That's the only one. I have never heard that name outside of that context. And true enough, that is indeed the same family. And my mom's going to get to call them in between games here. It'll be pretty cool.
Very cool. And yeah, I recognize the name because that's a familiar name I've heard around the family for a long time. There's a pitch over for a strike. Blaine Hunt, the batter. Blaine 0 for 2 today. Waits for the pitch from Coulter Nicolarsson, and that catches the corner to make the count 0-2. We're in the 6th inning. The Expos have scored 4 runs in the home half of the 6th inning to break open what was a 1-0 pitcher's duel between Burke Eschmeyer for post 22, who stands to be the winning pitcher, and Brennan Lab, who pitched very well for 5 innings so far this morning. And there is strike 3. Coulter Nicolarsson strikes out Blaine Hunt as he makes an impressive entrance out of the Missoula Mavericks bullpen. And now here comes Easton Tesh. Easton scored using his head, so to speak, in the 3rd inning as the throw down to third ricocheted off of his helmet when he was between third and home plate and scored. Here comes the outside delivery to Tesh for ball 1. Coming up next, Missoula versus Bellevue West, and now that game coming up next for Missoula really looks like a must-win here in this Firecracker Classic for the Mavericks. There's a pitch over for a strike. You would expect to see Sam Matisich in that ball game. You would expect.
I'd expect him to start. I don't know why else they would not play him here.
I concur. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Ash from Coulter Nicolarsson. And that pitch is driven into right field for an RBI single. Good piece of hitting there by Easton Tesh, the number 9 hole hitter. And that will bring home Hadley Burris, or check that, Blaine Hunt with the 6th run of the game and the 5th run of the 6th inning. Oh, that was Tatum Giddings.
No, I'm saying that he's entering right now.
Tatum Giddings is going to pinch run in the 6th, just like he did in the 5th. So, Tatum in the game. And one of the Expos called Tatum Tater, I think.
Which is interesting, because that's the same nickname that Carter Johnson has on the hard hats.
Okay. Well, he could be called a lot of worse things than Tater.
Mm-hmm.
And could be called a tot, I guess. Tater tots. There's a
We have a guy
ball
named
driven
Tat in
into
this tournament.
left field. Yep, Tat Kasabian for South Kingstown, Rhode Island. There's a base hit to left field by Kane McLeod. And now the Expos have hit around in this sixth inning, having scored 5 runs, been able to bring now their 10th man to the plate in the person of Ben Hassett, who got all of this thing started with a single to lead things off in what feels like a long time ago. There's a pitch from Nickel Larson that's rung up for strike 1. Major League Baseball all over the country from coast to coast and north of the border today. Oliver's Seattle Mariners just trying to find their way, but they're still in first place in the AL West. There's a grounder to third.
Oh.
Truglio with a nice play. Throws the first in time to retire the side. But the post 22 Expos give themselves multiple insurance policies with one trip to the counter, you might say, as they score 6 runs on a total of 5 hits. Check that, 6 hits. And there were no errors committed by Missoula. And there were 2 men left on base. And it looks like Burke Eschmeyer will go out there to go for a complete game shutout here in the top half of the 7th inning. It's number 30.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we will see Burke Eschmeyer. Or is that number 30? Well,
He's
number
29 on
29.
the mound.
Oh, yeah, 29. There we go. So Burke Eschmeyer is going to go for the complete game shutout here.
But they both have the flame bat.
With the 6-0 lead.
They both bought the same flame bat, these two Missoula hitters.
Okay.
I don't know. Watch out. Flames.
All right. Well, right now the Expos with a 6-0 advantage. 3 outs away from getting to 1-1 in this Firecracker Classic to start day 2. The Expos put their helmets together and we are almost ready to begin the top of the 7th. Coming up for Missoula, it'll be Skylar Fairchild, Henry Wilson, and Bryce Ostrom. And if anybody gets on, Cole Truglio. There's a pop-up, and it is caught by the starting pitcher, Blake Eschmeyer, in foul territory. So 1 gone to lead off the 7th inning. And Eschmeyer now, as he helps his own cause, going for a complete game shutout, just 2 outs away from putting his name in a special place in Firecracker Classic history with complete game shutout wins. There's a grounder to third, throw to first in time for out number 2. Good play made there by Hadley Burris at third. And now Burke Eschmeyer goes for the complete game shutout as Bryce Ostrom comes to the plate, representing the last hope for the Missoula Mavericks. Here comes a pitch from Burke, and that's high for ball 1. What can you say about Burke Eschmeyer going up against a Missoula team that was victorious over our great post-22 Hard Hats team 2 months earlier to the day?
You'd say he's hard hat ready. That's what you would say.
That's what you would say. Here comes, and it's a testament to just how deep post-22 pitching is this year. There's a pitch outside the zone for a ball. Count now 2-1. Burke Eschmeyer fires his 2-1 delivery outside for ball 3. I want to give a special tip of the cap to Cole Truglio, the third baseman for Missoula. I'm really impressed with his defense over the course of 6 innings of play this morning. Here comes a pitch, and that is inside for ball 4. And Bryce Ostrom reaches base for the first time today. Now here comes Cole Truglio. Cole 0 for 2 with a pair of infield groundouts, trying to make something happen with the Expos just 1 out away from victory here, trying to raise their record on the season to 36-9. Here comes the pitch to Truglio. That is a ball inside. I also tip my cap to the home plate umpire. He's the same great home plate umpire that we had last night in that Missoula Premier West game. Here comes a pitch. That ball's sky high. This could do it. Called for by the left fielder, who makes the catch, and that's a winner. That's a winner for the Post 22 Expos. And Burke Eschmeyer goes the distance with a complete game shutout for the Post 22 Expos. How about that performance, backed by some great leather and great defense? And Post 22 Expos baseball is now 1-1 in the Firecracker Classic pool play, dropping their adversaries this morning, the Missoula Mavericks, to 1-1 in pool play as well. Let's go ahead and kind of count everything up here and put a cap on this ball game. A game won by the Expos 6-0, featuring 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning to put the game on ice for the Expos, who wore their baby blue tops for this morning contest against Missoula. In the top of the 7th inning for Missoula, there were no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 man left on base. To recap it, this ball game, winning pitcher Burke Eschmeyer, he gets the victory, goes the distance, and strikes out a total of just 2 Missoula Mavericks and gets the victory. Losing pitcher in the game is Missoula's starter Brennan Labb. Really a tough luck start for Brennan, who pitched 5 innings in which he only gave up 1 run against the Expos, but he ran into serious trouble as the Expos scored a handful of runs in the home half of the 6th inning. And the Expos out-hit Missoula 8-2. Only error that was committed in the game was committed by the Mavericks infield. So the Expos get the win, raise their record to 36-9 on the season, and the Missoula Mavericks fall to 37-18 and 1-1 in tournament play. And that is the ball game. Want to thank all of you for tuning in on this presentation of Hard Hats TV. And the Missoula Mavericks will get set to regroup and take on the Bellevue West Thunderbirds in a game that Oliver Fell will have for you next. Our final score from Fitzgerald Stadium. It is the Post 22 Expo 6 and the Missoula Mavericks nothing. This has been Mike Fell bringing you today's game along with Oliver Fell. Game 1 in the books as we bring you 5 more games in our 6-game showcase today in Game 2 of the 49th Annual Firecracker Classic. Good morning from Rapid City, South Dakota.
Oliver, hi.
Hello.
Dave and Karen.
I'll come down.
Hi.